Kev, you've had a few days to dissect Saturday's defeat at Lincoln, but what can you take from the match?
We've had a really good debrief this morning. We had Sunday, Monday off. Obviously, they've had a busy period. It was important that the lads got some rest and refreshed physically and mentally, and that allowed us to watch the game back. It allowed us to have some good conversations. The players all watched the game back, and we came in this morning to have that debrief. And the thing we take away from it is that as a group, we win and we lose together, and that we need to get to the point where there's no blame attached. It's just taking accountability and taking responsibility for things that weren't of the level that we've set. Against Derby last week, I think we all came in feeling pretty positive in the sense that the performance was good. They bought into the game plan, that they're a big part of themselves. They went out, they tried to execute, and they did a lot of good stuff. You know, we were caught out by a team that were clinical, a team that were ruthless, a team that have got really good players. But for the most part, I think we came away from that game knowing we can compete with anybody in the league. Against Lincoln, we felt that we were flat. We felt that we started the game in a way that allowed Lincoln to gain impetus and to gain momentum. Against Wigan away, against Bristol Rovers away, against Barnsley away, we were that team. We set the tone. We got in their half early. We showed them that we were here to play. And against Lincoln, I don't think we ever did that. I think we were too passive, we were too back foot, we weren't aggressive enough with and without the ball. And we're not a team that can get away with being 5% off it, 10% off it, 20% off it. We need to be at it. And from top to bottom, from the staff through to the players, we got it wrong against Lincoln. And I think it's important that we hold our hands up to that, we learn from it, and we make sure that we reset and we go again for the most important game, which, as you know, is always the next one.
I think regardless of the performance, I mean, football is often a game of very small margins. You know, at 0-0, Jack Aitchison's shots parried by the keeper onto the bar. Had that gone in, we could be sitting here and, you know, talking about a win.
Yeah, but I'd like to think they would still be sitting here talking about a poor performance and a win. You know, we've had good performances and not won. And we talk about the process, and obviously Premier League managers, Mikel Arteta, those guys, they've made the process quite fashionable, but there's a point to it, there's a reason to it. Our process has been good, it's been on point for a little while now, in the sense that we know who we're going to go and play against, we know our enemy, we're starting to understand and know ourselves, and then when we go out there into the battle, into the arena, we're ready for what's coming, and we've been brave to implement our plan and put ourselves on the game. Lincoln was the first game in quite a while where we didn't feel that. You stood on the side, and to a degree you feel a little bit helpless. The lads are out there, it's 0-0, like you say, it's tight, but we're not us. We're not setting the right tone, we're not getting on the front foot, we're not getting the ball in their half with control. We're not in total control when they've got the ball, which I think we've been particularly good at over the last few games. So yes, it's fine margins that we end up losing the game for, but we'd be naive and miss a trick if we were to come away from that and just think it was a bit unfortunate. It really wasn't. It was our fault. And you know, fair play to Lincoln. They ran hard, they worked hard, they were aggressive. They did what we should have been doing to them, and then we should let our quality and our game plan and the way we play take over. And they never allowed us to do that, and we didn't do enough to establish it. So really, really important we learn those lessons and never get sucked into thinking that it was unfortunate or it was good enough. You know, when we win games, we want to do better. That's how we have to strive to become the football club and the football team that we want to be.
Absolutely. And on Saturday we take on Fleetwood, who sit in those bottom four positions, but it's a game that is not going to be any easier than facing anyone else, is it?
No, new manager, a desperation to pick up points, good players that we know, that we're familiar with, players that know the level well, and a team that absolutely did us at their place. Fleetwood was one of those games in the run that we're on that, you know, we played well in games and got beat and felt unfortunate. Fleetwood absolutely did us. You know, we were nowhere near it at their place. We went out with a whimper, and it's very much a case of us now taking that on board, learning those lessons, learning from the weekend, and we've now got a full week of prep. We've trained today. We've got another 3 days of work to come. We've got a good squad of players who are all good players and are all fighting for places, and that's how it should be. but we need to make sure that between the staff and the players we settle on the game plan that they're going to go and execute against a team desperate for points, and they're going to come here fighting for their lives.
And the fans will see it as very much a big game with 12 left of the season, but like you say, it is just the next game.
Yeah, there will come a point where everybody gets bored of me saying this and gets frustrated, but it's the only game we can affect. We've learned, or we're trying to learn our lessons from Lincoln. We've picked through those bits, but once we come out of that analysis room and we set foot on the training pitch, we're getting ready for Fleetwood. The boys worked really hard today. There was a bit of tension in the air, which I think is a good thing. Sometimes things can be too nice, and that wasn't the case today. Lads were hurting. They'd watched the game back themselves. They understood that they let themselves down. They let the fan base down, and we're better than that. And we're the same as staff. It's on us. It's our fault. We're the guys that pick the team and pick the formation, pick the game plan along with the players. So today was the first step in the right direction towards Fleetwood. The next game will only ever be the most important game, and we're ready for that.
When you look at the season as a whole, this time last season we were sitting on around about the same amount of points at the same stage. So there's a lot still to play for, and we could end up doing better than last season. Yeah,
but we've got to get away from comparison. We've got to get away from looking at the league table. Again, boring, dull. Some fans will hate to hear this again. We can affect Fleetwood. We can go and we're going to fight for 3 points against Fleetwood. We can't affect how many points we end up on. There's too much to come. What's gone is last year. It's in the past. We've learned the lessons, and we're trying to get better from it with a new group of players and a fresh impetus, I suppose, having lost some players that have been at the club for a long, long time. And this is the first steps towards us building something, and building something sustainable and something for us all to be proud of and for the fans to be proud of. But it can change quickly, and all that we can worry about is Fleetwood. So the league table is neither here nor there for us now. It doesn't matter what it says right now. It matters what it says at the end of the season, and we're in control of that only from today.
One thing that is constant is the home backing we've seen throughout the season, regardless of how we've performed. SJP is an incredible place to play when it's full and bouncing as well. So I guess that's what you're hoping for on Saturday. Yeah,
and that comes from us. We've got to inspire and thrill and encourage and get the fans going. That comes from our endeavour more than anything else. If they see you out there giving it everything, our fan base is very understanding and very quick to back us. We need to make sure we are that team. And if we can get that and they can get up, it's a difficult place for other teams to come and play. It inspires the lads when they're at it and they're noisy and they're singing their name and they're positive. But it's a two-way street. You can't just rock up and expect them to chant your name and be a part of it. We need to give back and make sure that we're doing our end of the bargain. So yes, I'd be really hopeful it'll be a positive atmosphere. We've been on a pretty good run over the last few games. Hopefully we can inspire them and get them singing throughout that 90 minutes.
Aside from the football as well, I can't help but not ask you how the half marathon went recently. We caught up before, I haven't spoken to you since, so how did it go for you?
Well, first of all, a massive thank you to everybody that sponsored us. We've gone over the target of the £1,200 that was set. That's massive, and we're incredibly grateful for that. In terms of the half marathon itself, we survived, which is a big plus. I think I feel worse today than I did this time last week, which is slightly worrying. One or two people were really happy with their performance. Young Tom Yates came in third and did really well on his first half marathon. I think he surprised himself. I've had a bit of stick for not beating him, but I'm very clear to say that I'm old enough to be his dad, so therefore he should have beaten me by more. But it was a real good experience. It was great that we could put the training in together. It was great that we could have that kind of banter, and it was really, really good that we could raise such good money for such deserving charities.
And I guess this was part of your season-long way of doing challenges and fundraising and stuff. So I guess, is there still more to come this season? Or
yeah, we've got the second annual game against the teachers from down the road in Exmouth that's coming up about 3 weeks now. That'll be on the AstroTurf behind me. We battered them last year. We showed no mercy, and I'm expecting the same again this year. But they're going to come and pay for the privilege of trying to beat us. We're going to enjoy that challenge. And again, it brings the staff together. It's good for the community. It's great that people can come and offer that challenge, and money can go to charity. So we're always open to those kind of ideas and those kind of challenges, and hopefully I'm not eating my words in a few weeks when you ask me that question.
And just finally as well, when I arrived, I was accosted by an unnamed member of the squad who wears the number 12 shirt, and he said that it was Tom Carroll 1, Kevin Nicholson 0, apparently, and I had to ask you about it.
No, I think he's stretching a little bit. I think TC wasn't happy with one of my refereeing decisions in training today, and I let him know that it's not the referee that decides how the game goes, it's how they react from poor decisions. If anything, I'm giving him a very realistic experience of what's going to happen most weekends, and he reacted badly and his team got absolutely smashed, so the proof would be in the pudding there.
So would you say it's Kevin Nicholson 1, Tom Carroll 0?
I don't think TC can even come back and challenge for 1-1 at this point.